Well, what's the crack, everybody? How are you getting on? Welcome to another episode of Buckshot. Apologies, I missed last week. I had a couple of guests lined up, but I was sicker than the sickest sick person. Ah, Jesus, I felt very sorry for myself. To be fair, I tried recording, and it sounded like, I suppose if you put a food blender and threw gravel into it, and then threw that into a quarry. That's what it sounded like. It was disgusting, so I couldn't. Apologies. It is a Friday, the 7th. It's Good Friday. Nearly time for the Easter eggs, lads. Of course, Patreons would have gotten this a couple of days ago, along with the video. And that's the benefits of it, as well as that my special, Clattered, it's still up there if you want to go have a look at that. It's there for $3 here a month, and you get the Ramble Pod as well. It's all there. The free Ramble. The Ramble Pod is essentially purely just me chit-chatting for the Patreons, answering their questions and talking ad nauseum and kind of losing my mind a small bit in the darkness of this studio. That's the benefits of being a Patreon. Of course, we have the Hill Comedy Club, my club in Cairn, County Tipperary. It is about 3/4 sold out at the minute for Fred Cook at the end of the month, which is the 29th. It's going to be Fred Cook and Cornelius O'Sullivan. I will be putting next month's headliner on sale early next week. So go have a look at the Hill. Just look at the Hill Comedy Club. It's on Eventbrite. You can just follow it, and at least then you'll get an update if you are thinking of coming. I don't give a shit what people say. It's goddamn nearly... It's right up there with one of the best comedy clubs in the country. Look at the standard we've been bringing, but just the vibe is just class. So it's worth a night away. We have people coming from Westmeath, would you believe, the other night. We have Dublin people come. We have people coming down from the north. People coming from all over. They're catching a wind of what a good crack night it is in the Hill. Let's be honest, lads. You need a good night away, and it's cheap as chips inside in there. It's a country pub in Gare. Music afterwards, and there's not a lot of clock watching, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to leave that there. You can pick that up whatever way you want. Banana and Bear Rugby Pod with myself and Anna Capeless has rolled into season 2 without actually stopping at all. We have covered the men's Six Nations all the way up to the Grand Slam, and now we're covering the women's TikTok Six Nations. And we're having great crack, savage crack. Like, I'd say it's rugby, but it's rugby adjacent. And what it seems to be is right good for people who only kind of half know about it or aren't fully interested in it, but just want a bit of crack between two people who enjoy a similar thing. To be fair, we did a lot of talking about ice cream on yesterday's episode, or Wednesday's episode. I'm just saying. It's a soft entry. We will be putting together one called How to Rugby, and it's for people who don't want to look like a bollocks down the pub come the World Cup. If you just want pints and you don't want to come out and make a tit of yourself. How to Rugby. We're going to do a series of episodes explaining all you need to know and how to sound like you know what you're talking about. Nobody does it. I had Jerry McBride in my club the other night. He's very pumped up. We have notes coming together. He basically took the roof off his house, and now the roof is back on. They've converted the attic fully, and it's almost finished. And then, and only then, will we be able to kick off with the next season of the Tom and Jerry show. So I know there are people who are messaging. I get tips. I'm getting tips through coffee. If that's the thing, if you're just going, every time I don't want to do that Patreon stuff, I just look, can I give you a few pounds just to say sound? There's a link in the link. It's called Buy Tom a Coffee. That's there if you want to do that. People seem to be doing that a fair bit. Just really going through the back catalogue, Tom. People are back at like number 21 and 22 of this. I mean, we're on 260 something. Fair play. Thank you very much to anybody who contributed. But yes, the Tom and Jerry show is coming back as soon as McBride can get the builders out of the house. I'm ready to rock. So as soon as he can get them out of the house, that's lit. You couldn't be at it with lads fucking scraping out fucking plasterboards around the place and stuff like that, and they're dushed everywhere. So that's all the news I have to tell you. Moving on to today's guest, he's one of my very, very favourite people, not just in comedy but in life. He's a wild man, and he doesn't like to admit it, but he is a savage, and it is very evident in this episode. He's living in London, which he loves and hates all at the same time, which gets me very excited. I think this is like his fourth time back. And sure, look, you'd have him back every week. He's that enjoyable. It's the mighty Micael Rice, everybody.
Recorded on to fuck. Yeah, but
Memmy is welcome, Michael, to the podcast. Yeah. Anyway, I just had to hit record because we were talking about Memmy's table manners growing up.
Yeah.
Like fierce. Like if you were out now in a a cafe or a restaurant or something? Like, would there be?
No, she was like a hawk. So what it was I don't know what happened to her and her child. So she was one of well, there would have been 14, but then I think like 2 died young. So there was like 12 of them, right? So there's a lot of them. And lovely, great people. But I think the mother then, when she was their mother, when there's discipline, because when you have that many children, you have to fucking, there's no one-on-one man management. You just have to lay down the law.
Like the army, there has to be a set protocol in place. Like there has to be, or you'd lose the room. Like Jesus, yeah. I absolutely get that.
That's absolutely right. So for whatever the mother did, they got it into the heads of these children, my mother included now, that table manners may be the most important aspect of existence. So I'm not joking at all. The level of seriousness my mother put in, I often thought it would be good for her. Maybe she did mushrooms or LSD or something. I think that's what realization she would come to, is cutlery is not the kind of the dominant, and most important thing that you need to focus on in life. But so when we were growing up, she was just, you probably know yourself, the different things. It's all like about, so you have to have a knife in the right hand, fork in the left. Like my brother was the other way around, and I
was the other way around. And honest to God, I was a conduit to the devil. Basically, it was.
But wasn't there something at the time though? Wasn't there something though, if you were left-handed, that you were a servant of the devil, or you were some sort of a
oh, you are, because it's what do they call it? What do they call him? A left-handed person in Irish. What do they call him?
A queer hawk.
No, it's possibly a queer hawk, but it's Kitog.
That's right.
Which is servant of the devil, like, yeah, left-handed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm standing to be corrected by a Gaeilgeoir listening now. There'll be people shouting at their phones, but it definitely is that, because it was bet out of my mother by the nuns, which allowed her to become ambidextrous. Then she can cut with both hands.
She was bet into talent with nuns. And nuns better talented.
So she can write with both hands as well as a result of
it. Oh, that's kind of unreal. Do you know what I had now, which was kind of a fucking weird one? I was left-footed and right-handed, and I'm yes, yeah. So I'm a real kind of
How did they let you go in the local sports, in any local sports? Like, how did they let you go? Like, you're big, you can kick off the left and strike off the right. How the fuck were you let go?
Well, do you know what? I was a nasty little man.
That's what I mean. But that's beautiful. Like that's like you can't train that into somebody to be a nasty bastard. Like, that's why I like you.
No. Well, see, and I think, do you know what, lad? I was just thinking about it the other day. So I hit puberty very young, right? Or late, sorry. So I was very small until I was maybe 17, going on 18. But I still started on all the teams. Like, so I played hurling for O'Loughlin Gales in town in Kilkenny, and I played on the Kieran senior team when I was in my final year of school. And I would have.
There was definitely a pathway to the black and amber, like, for sure, for you, like.
There was, but it was a bad. So I did start senior for Kieran's, but it was because it was a bad fucking. It was a bad team that year. That's kind of why I started. Like, they weren't great, but the reason I could have never played probably with Cody and the boys is because I held the hurl the wrong way, and it was a big fucking no. I held left hand on top, even though I was right-handed, because I'm left-footed, but I'm also left-handed for some things. Like, I smoke with my left. I'll be honest with you, Tom, I don't want to scandalize anyone. I'd have a wank with my left hand. I don't know what the story is. I would.
I was going to ask that. That's incredible. And would you ever, can you switch over, or is it?
If I want to kind of pretend that it's like the neighbor down the road, I can.
With a massive hand.
With an absolute fucking paw, an absolute fucking shovel on him. But that's what had me like, so then I wasn't going to be, I wasn't, it looked awkward. Do you know what I mean? So I was effective, but it wasn't.
Is baseball that way around? I think baseball is that way around. It's fucking wrong. It's wrong as well. And golf is, yeah.
It's the golf grip. But you play a bit of golf, would you?
I did a lot, but not in this long time. Not when I, fucking actually
were you a Celtic Tiger golfer? Like, was that kind of?
Well, I tell you what, I was a Celtic Tiger golfer, but not for the reasons of meeting guys on the. I was a civil engineer for a building company. We were building golf courses.
Were you?
Yeah. So I was big. All I wanted to do was just be around big heavy machinery and move loads of stuff. But then by default, then you end up on lots and lots of golf courses. And I just took it up with, like, the digger drivers in Everton played golf. Like, everybody played golf. So it was like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
And I was okay at it. I was okay. I had a decent drive, but
Did you get lessons, lad?
no, I'm going to annoy anybody who's a golf enthusiast here. I didn't pay for lessons, but I got lessons from Nick Faldo, Retief Goosen, Ian Woosnam.
Fuck off. What? No, you didn't. What the hell? How did that go?
They were part of all the design teams on courses we were building at the time, like.
So they were just kind of fucking faffing about, were they? And you said, "Come here to me, Faldo." And
well, I tell you, I was up in Lough Erne. We were doing Lough Erne in Fermanagh, and I was after being brought in. The thing was half built, and they were only making a fuck of it, Mike, like a bunch of bastards. It was like cavemen with too much money. They were just fucking rocks at the problem to see what they. So they were trying to build greens and tees out into the big Lake Erne, and sure, they were just piling like hundreds of thousands of euros worth in diesel, driving these giant rocks and stuff. And I came on the scene and said, "What in fuck's name are you crowd of clowns doing?" Because up until then, no company had ever had their own civil engineer. Like, they just kind of do it their own way.
They came in and told them all they were flutes.
That's exactly what I did.
In one of your two tuxedos at the time.
Jumped out of the Jeep, the Land Cruiser. No, I don't think I even did. I just think I pulled up, put down the window, elbow out, and went, "What are you crowd of fucking gowls at?"
Faldo, you cunt.
And then we'd gotten the green right. I stabilized it by bringing in a piling company. I know, Edward, this is boring the fuck out of everybody. Brought a piling company and drove piles in, stabilized the fucking thing, pinned it to the earth, got it right. And it was moving ever so slightly, but was settling. And we were about 6 weeks into these greens and stuff they were all sitting right. And I was a great man. And the next thing, Faldo landed on in a chopper. I landed on one of the fucking greens that was still stabilizing, like, with his fucking chopper.
Yeah.
And I fucking snapped. I ran down across the fucking like fucking like Frodo running with the fucking ring by my hood flapping. I ran fucking down.
You shall not pass.
I didn't give a fuck who was going to get out of this chopper. They were getting fucked all roads anyway when I got down there. And first the pilot got out, and then Faldo got out, and I fucked into him, like, I mean, ripped into him. And it took.
Did you?
Yeah. I just fucking lost it. And Faldo went kind of half.
What did Faldo?
Huh?
What did you say to him?
I called him a thick cunt. That he couldn't land on the other 200 fucking acres. Like, you fucking langer.
Enough for him. Yeah.
And in all fairness, he acknowledged it on the spot. He went, "Yeah, I'd heard we'd been having. I'm guessing you're the fellow who's gotten these sorted." I said, "They were fucking sorted until you put that big heap of fucking scrap up on top of it."
Yeah.
Your man says, "Will I move it?" I said, "Well, what's the fucking point now?" I said, "We'll fucking get a dozer and push the thing into the fucking lake, you cunts." And I stormed off.
I love it. He's won six majors, and not an absolute shred of respect he's getting off.
not a fucking bean, but
not fucking blinded out of it.
Not a fucking bean. I didn't give up. Like, I probably amped it up because when I realized who it was, I went, "Well, we're all in here now." And I said, "He's going to call for me to be fired." And he didn't. He didn't at all. He absolutely appreciated.
But you're a lad like that. Sure, they're so used to getting their boots absolutely licked from morning to fucking night. If someone actually came up and just say, "You thick-looking cunt," I'd say it's part of that to be refreshing. A little jumped-up Tipperary fucker like you, fucking coming up to him like the hammers of hell across the golf course.
I suppose, yeah. When you think about, but I think he appreciate, But he, in fairness to Faldo, and the rest of them were only kind of fuck acting around a lot of the time, but in fairness to Faldo, he was one of the few that was actually invested in the design of this course. A lot of them just allowed their names to be put that they'd land on. Like Retief Goosen, to say that man couldn't give half a fuck. If he searched for a week down in the fucking fairway, or in the rough, he wouldn't find even a quarter of a fuck to give over to you.
He was
But
a South African fella, was he?
South African. I'd go off and buy before he landed. He came on the chopper as well. We were building one in Longford with him before he landed.
Go off and buy him a person of color.
We to get him a pair of boots. So I went up and got him a pair of good rigger boots, Red Wings, and up in the fucking hardware. I brought him down. Sure, they were the cleanest boots. He just sat in the Jeep and I drove around and I said, see what we're after doing there. And your man was just going, yeah, it's great. Yeah, I love it. I said, Retief, have you any fucking clue what's going on here at all? Did you know that's different to what was on the draw? And he was like, yeah, listen, bro, yeah. He got his $250,000 a trip, you see. He was given $250,000 a trip to come over. So he came over to 3 out of the 4 times because the fucking country went bust before the 4th one happened. Like, but
the part to that, I kind of respect that. Like, he just, come over, he'll have his name on it, get the money, go off. Sure, Faldo the busybody then would be trying to get involved.
Well, he was retired, you see, but Faldo was properly retired. Goosen was still playing a bit, like, and Faldo,
he was tapping away.
He was still tipping away, and what's his name? Faldo was retired, and this was his new thing, like. And to be fair, the difference in prestige of Lochern and Longford, 2 very different places. Like, the Lochern could host the Ryder Cup, like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were building it to host the Solheim Cup, which is the women's version of the Ryder Cup. Do you know what I mean? It was fairly.
Never heard of that one.
I won't lie, never heard of it myself beforehand. But even like the women's tees, the women's pro tees, like, you wouldn't, you know what I mean? It was ridiculous. Like, the strongest man in the world who was in the pro wouldn't poke off him. Like, they were ridiculous. And then the men's pro tees were back yonks again. Like, but that was it. Yeah. That was the story with Faldo. Fucked him all roads anyway. And
but tell me this now. So then, at what point are you saying now? Here, Faldo, old friend, I'm only starting golf. Is there any chance you'd show me how to swing that joke?
That was I was on the second time, and he was up. He actually had a golf club, and I remember he was tapping away like I don't know, fucking 4 or 5 in his hand. He was actually soloing a ball, chatting away to somebody, and man, I think they were waiting on somebody. We were just chatting. I said, well, boys, and he says, all right, Tom, how are you? And I said, grand. Nick, I says, you're at fucking nothing by the looks of things. And he started laughing. He goes, you have a fucking job for me. Yeah, I says, you've either a job for me or you're going to give out to me about something else. I says, no, I'm not going to give out to you about anything, but I do have a job for you. And to the back of the Jeep, brought up out the golf clubs. He went, you want to play me? I was like, no, I don't want to fucking play you. So I says, I need to get off the big. I had a big Bertha, big John Daly, big Bertha fucking driver. I says, I can't keep this fucking thing straight for love nor money. And about 20 minutes with that man, and my back was all wrong. Everything was all fucking wrong. But after about 20 minutes, we were fucking twanging that thing. I mean, fucking twanging it, like. So and that was my story of having, and he was a nice man. Nice. He was all right, like. But if like a passionate, like, he came in and he changed the entire front 9. Like, it was originally one way, and he went, actually, do you know what? They were about 3 months into work there, apparently, and he went, we need to change the whole fucking thing. This isn't looking right at all with the aspects and everything else. And you know, he's.
Yeah, I was terribly shite myself. I never took to golf well, and you know what? And I was good at other sports, so my ego couldn't take it. You know, I also thought it was a bit of a, it was associated in my head, like rugby was, with a little bit kind of Protestant-y. Like, I kind of had that kind of a stupid idea about it. I was bad at golf, right? And I wasn't able to take it. I remember even one day I was working in this call center. This is a little bit after college, and these 2 fellas that I was working with asked me to go out and play golf. They're going to play golf and have a few beers or something. And I'd say I brought between what I brought and then got in the shop before, I brought maybe 8 balls with me. By the 3rd hole, I was in the swamp looking for my last fucking ball. Like, just miserable. Like, just there was water after going up into me runners, like, fucking just hacking, and I was like going through these reeds, and I could see the 2 boys looking down at me. And there's just no way that in your head you look at someone the same. Like, they just, now in their minds, I was just I was like a window licker, you know, like I
Yeah,
was just,
yeah.
I was less than, like they never asked, they never invited me tanting again after that, to be honest with you.
I absolutely love that you had that appreciation for being shite, because I could never in all my fucking days. I was good enough at it, like I could keep in with lads, like, and I could never grasp these sorry looking cunts driving fucking balls left and right looking for the fucking thing, and you're going, you're at this years, lad. If I
Yeah.
was like that on day one, let alone fucking day 2000, I'd be fuck off. There's no way I could stick a sport that I'd be so shit at. Hence why I packed in hurling, because I just
Yeah.
wasn't tasty enough at all at it, and took up rugby. But rugby where I grew up was rough and ready, like, you know, that kind of way. Hey, because it was good for a mulker like me, like.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the difference. And that's the difference in Munster versus Leinster in general. Because in Munster, like working class people play rugby. It's just a different, it's a different vibe altogether. But that was the thing. See, when I was young, and this is why I quit straight away like that. I couldn't bear to be fucking shite at it. And second thing, when I was younger, and I'd be playing hurling, and it's terrible to say, but in Kilkenny, because it was such a religion, like obviously similar in Tipperary, but like children would be getting called cowards, and like adults would dislike children who were bad at hurling, and you would see it. They wouldn't like him. They'd be telling him, you're like his father was the same way, and you know. And I swear to God, but I as well, Tom, I would judge someone's whole personality off whether or not they were good at hurling. Like you could have asked me when I was 14. You could have asked me, "Oh, what's Tom Murphy like? He plays hurling with you." I'd be like, "He's a windy coward. He's a useless coward." And
His
they'd be like,
entire
"Oh,
personality wrapped up in his standard of hurling."
wrapped up."
Wow.
But they could have said, they could have been, "Oh, and what's he like as a person?" I'd be like, "To be honest, I've never talked to him. I don't talk to the shit players. But he is fucking useless." And
I
I
don't
have
talk
to
to shit players.
I no, but Tom, I'm not even joking. I didn't.
I get it.
I
Get
didn't.
it.
I didn't talk to the shit players. And I said, I say he's a weak little count. I have to assume his father's a weak man, and his mother can't cook for shite. The lad's just a fucking, you know, absolutely stone useless.
You had
know?
aligned him with the genetics of a bad cattle too. You were like, that fucker just needs to be just ran off, like that fucking thing now. People don't realize it. I'm cutting across you, I know, but I need to clarify this for people. There's no country, and I've been in every fucking one of them. I've worked in some capacity in every county on this island. There is no county in Ireland who are so fucking hardcore about one particular sport. Yes, Kerry, you can say Kerry, but Kerry has a lot of rugby. It even, you know what I mean? It cares about other shit than football. There is no county on this island that has such exclusivity. Like, mass doesn't matter a fuck. The weather doesn't matter a fuck. Like, nothing. I mean, no sport has a hope of surviving. Like the amount of sports that have withered on the fucking vine in Kilkenny, they don't give a fuck about anything.
No,
but hurling.
Nothing. And it's been a fucking, to be fair, it's been a great fucking tactic. And if ever people should like go around and look at success and how did this little county get to where it is, it's because it does absolutely nothing else. It shames you. It shames you as a child. People have to leave the county if they're not good at hurling. And I'm not even fucking joking. You are worthless.
Not even joking.
I'm not joking. You are worthless. You're useless. You're not worth the oxygen in the air if you don't play hurling. Oh, I'm really good at piano. Fuck off. Go off up to Dublin. Don't be annoying us now. I don't want to look at you. You know, this is 100% true. I played hurling. I was good at soccer as well, right? So I played that as well. But you'd have your hurling trainers coming over to you and just being like, "What are you doing?" They'd be like, "What are you doing that for now?" And you'd be like, sure, just playing soccer. Because they're on kind of at slightly different times of the year. Like the soccer kind of big ended end for the championship, but there'd be a little time where they'd kind of cross over. But soccer be on Saturdays, hurling would be on Sundays. But they'd still be like, what kind of they'd be looking at you like, are you gay? Why are you playing soccer? Gay? Are you? Suck cock, do you? Is that what you do? And you're like 10 years of age, and you're like, oh, I don't know, I don't think so, but but
I got all off the subject of your mother's table manners, and I'm intrigued, like, to what level. I know we do this when we talk, and it goes in every fucking direction. I love it, but I'm still intrigued as to the level. Like, what are we talking? Straight back, straight, proper, sit up, fucking right, like that kind of carry on.
Yeah, it's that carry on. It's you have to have, so the table has to be set in a particular way. I don't know if you remember that, like, scene in the Titanic where Jack Leo is eating with the richer people, and then you have fucking Kathy Bates' character, who's the kind of chubby, nicer money, and she's sound. She's actually sound, so she's fucking sound to Jack. So she shows him which way you put the forks, and you eat from the outside in. With the cutlery and blah blah blah. And that didn't seem like that to me. What didn't even look like fiction. That was like, oh yeah, this is the way my mother goes on. But I'm serious. Like, this is the spoon you use for this one used for that. When you're eating soup, right? This, no joke. You can't bring the fucking soup. You have to go away with the spoon. You have to scoop away from yourself with the spoon and then bring it here. When you eat, you must put your mouth down on the fork, take it out. You cannot open your mouth when you're eating. You mustn't talk when you're eating. If anyone speaks when they're eating, they will be called out to. So my mother is literally at the table, and she's like fucking Big Brother. She's like the fucking eye in the sky, just like staring. I am talking, staring, Tom, like a fucking hawk as we're eating. And as soon as anyone fucks up, she's just like, right? Now, the thing is, and what caused conflict is, my father is a complete lawless, ruleless ape of a man. And this, he just couldn't. Now, he didn't have a competing ideology, Tom. It wasn't that he had a different way of life to offer or a different take on it. His whole ideology was just fuck whatever she's saying. So she'd be saying this, and he'd be like, oh, sure, Betsy, would you leave me alone? You know, and then they have to. So it'd just be this. Every fucking meal now was just bedlam, you know. But
was this every meal or just Sunday? It wouldn't be a Tuesday, would it? Fish fingers.
Well, it wouldn't be a Tuesday, because, you know, you're eating at different times and you're at school and blah blah blah. But Sunday, we'd have Sunday roast every year, and it was absolute mayhem every single time. And do you know what's another thing, Tom? And this is something that I realize this as life goes on. There's some things that your brain just will refuse to take in, some pieces of information, because your brain is so violently uninterested in some things that it's just like, no. So, for example, I'd set the table all the time at home, and my mother would say, the side plates go to the left of the thing, blah 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 blah. And every single day I would forget what side the side plate went. That's how
ignorance. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
but my brain just was like, I am not having that staying in here. And I can remember, like, I could tell you how many Premier League goals Michael Owen scored in 1998. You know, I'd have useless information that just lodges in. And yet I just couldn't. But did you have a similar thing, like, whereby
early, I think it were early doors. I think we had early doors, and then the wheels came off the fucking wagon. I'd say, Jesus, I wasn't even 12 or 13. I'd say the wheels kind of came off the way. In that, when we all started eating, the girls were playing camogie, coming in at different times. If they were, you know, I'd be out playing. So by the time you get around to Sunday, there'd be some semblance of manners. But again, like, to be, no, she started to let slip early doors all the same. Like, but she did have that. Like, I don't think they had a bet into, but she would have had a bet into from the nuns. on eating correctly. And,
Yes.
to be, if it was the 3 courses or whatever, all 3, to be laid out. And Jesus Christ, for the fucking 6 of us, there'd be a table that nowadays you'd fit 40 people in Wagamama, like, that kind of ways, because you need, and elbows off the table, all this out shit. And then I think just when I started getting into sports heavy and started whaling grub into me, like, I mean, Mike, I ate food that a man 3 times my size wouldn't fucking eat. Like, 'twas criminal the amount of food I used to fucking eat. Like, 'twas, so for a finish, I think 'twas, for a finish, I think I think I was probably the catalyst in that they were looking, going, just keep throwing it at him. Like, this, Jesus Christ, like, because I'd come in fucking furious because I'd be hungry, and just fury would take over me. And it's still to this day, I have to keep an eye on it because I know I'm a father and a husband. Just
roaring,
fucking
falling,
human, come kicking the door off the fucking hinges in looking for fucking food,
fighting the tabletops.
Like, you, like fucking, like sitting up like a fucking vulture, not even with my feet on the ground, just stand half crouching up on the seat, even just snaffling out of the plate like a fucking boar. Just like ignorant of the highest degree, because I had something to be doing straight away afterwards. Like, I was an owl fella before I was ever fucking an owl fella, Mike. I was an owl fella at age 12.
And were you trying to bulk up, Tom? Were you trying to get yourself into half a kind of a make a Bullock of yourself?
I'd say subconsciously, yes. I would say subconsciously, yeah, because but even when I was 10, as a little young fella, I ate an awful lot. I ate and fucking ate, but I never stopped going. I was like a fucking rocket, just everywhere. Had to be done at 100 miles an hour and no fucking sitting down. Fucking keep going. Just fucking everything had to be done at 100 miles an hour. It had to be done yesterday. And that was as early as I can remember.
But you were hungry in more ways than one. You were just kind of fucking, if there's food, you were eating it. If there's something to drink, you were drinking. If there was work, you were working. You were kind of just fucking, you were just a demented little young fella, like, just on a mission.
Absolutely.
What.
Everything was a mission. Everything was a fucking mission. And the time it took to complete the fucking action that I was doing was time wasting, in my opinion. Like, you're going, I'm eating this now, and it's taking 20 minutes to fucking eat the cunt and fucking thing, when, Jesus Christ, can we cut this down to a pill or something? Can we start this into a smoothie? Just smoothie up that fucking thing there, and I'll get gone to fuck and be gone again. There was no sitting down. Just, you had to be gone and doing fucking something. There was always some project I'd on or something to be fucking done.
And now, Tom, tell me this now. Do you think that you missed the trick maybe by not being born in a generation where there was a war? Do you think that maybe...
You're not the first person to say that to me.
Because, like, you have the fucking there's something in you that you remind me of fucking like, you remind me like kind of like an American kind of a general type in like Platoon or something, or maybe Robert Duvall in fucking Apocalypse Now. I could see it just absolutely.
Yeah, I get him. I always got him. Yeah, I got him. I remember that. Yeah, there was a fucking. Do we have fucking Charlie Don't Surf? So what's the fucking bombs going off? Get out them fucking boards this instant. I'll be fucking looking at it. Yeah, I got him the second I saw that movie for the first time. Like, yeah. I get that.
The Viet Cong would have hated the signing of Tom the Bear now. You would have made soup of them cunts. You would have made sausages of the Viet Cong. You would have fucking made a pair of shoes with their skin. I could see, look at the head in you. They would have fucking, oh, the bear, we must hide. It's the bear. I just out with that fucking golf club that Faldo gave you. Just fucking lashing, lads.
Beating the fucking heads off with the fucking red ring ringer boots that I had to buy for Critique for you, Goose, and that's what I'd be fucking doing, just stomping around the place. I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying.
But there is well, sure. Look, I mean, the thing is that there is something in all of us. I mean, and I was kind of I was leading to it there earlier a bit, but like, so when I was younger, like I was saying, so I didn't grow till I was about 17, and I think I had that kind of this animalistic thing in me. There's a kind of a violence or a cruelty in me that would only come out though during like playing sport, because in general I would be trying to be want to be a nice, kind person. I like to be liked and everything, but then I'd get on the pitch and I could only say I was an absolute toe rag. I'd be possessed by something very unholy, Tom. I don't really know. Like some of the things I did, I was honestly thinking the other day, not even funny. It was just like first thing I'd be saying, because I was smaller, I'd be trying to gain every advantage. So I'd be whispering to lads about their sisters and their mothers, and I'd be pulling at them. I'd be like, do you remember when fucking Zidane headbutted Materazzi the time? Because Materazzi was saying your sister's now whore or something, and Zidane fucking nutted him. Now Zidane would have fucking shot me in the head for what I'd be saying. Like Zidane would have like that cunt would have had me hung. This shit I'd be saying to people, but also then, so like obviously, you know, like if you're playing hurling, right? So you have a million little tricks that you're at. I was a defender as well, like, you know, I was a back. So, you know, like you're not pulling lads, you're slapping at lads' elbows, you're digging the butt of the hurl into them. Do you know, it's the bigger, and what's worse is you're encouraged by the fucking adults. They love it. They're
love
telling
it.
you, go on,
you're literally saying this to me, and because you're younger than me right now, and imagining you being my child/younger brother, and I'm so proud of you right now for the stuff you're telling me. Isn't that sick? And we're both very placid people typically. Like we're both quite placid. But what you're telling me now, I'm going fucking quality action, shithousery they call it. But that is quality carry on, like of the highest order, especially for a defender. And heaven forbid, I'd imagine if they put a fucking hand up in the air to catch a ball, because if they weren't watching themselves.
No. Now, to be fair, then the thing is, you get some lads and the really good lads, right? I remember this fella, Joe Ling from Innishteek. He would have been on the senior panel for a while in Kilkenny, and he was, you know, just an operator. But if you try that shit with them lads, they're so used to getting it off other lads, they'll just put manners on you straight away. I remember one time doing it to Ling. I just threw a little fucking yoke into the side of him. He waited till the ref wasn't looking, and this man, you know, these lads have fucking, you know, it's hydraulics, like, and just fucking like right just into my chest. I was just literally like, I couldn't breathe, Tom. I was there like just like I was down on the ground. I had to be like, come on, help. And like, you know, I couldn't have deserved it more. Like I started it, you know. But that's the thing, like you would see even like lads you would look at as the, you know, like whoever the greats, like Shefflin and whoever, blah blah, like all these lads, you know, like they're black belts, you know, in like fucking taking care of themselves, you know, like, so
of course, yeah.
If you give them any bit of dirt, they're going to fucking, you know, slap it straight back into you, you know, because they have to. It's like war, like, you know, you can't show that you're going to be fucking you know, intimidated or moved by any of this shit. But I remember the worst thing I ever did, and I still feel bad about this. I don't know. We were playing a club called so there was this one game, right? We were playing a crowd called Dixborough, who they're also in the city. They're Dixborough. And to be honest now, these were like, we'll say if it was Harry Potter, they would have been Slytherin. You know, they were. There was no, you know, but you know, you know the type. There was no natural goodness to them. There was a kind of a rot. They weren't. There was a rot, a soul rot. There was something in there that was fucking missing. There was a darkness. There was a darkness, and there was a meanness, and there were kind of the lads who'd be kind of, you know, drinking water out of fucking dikes, and they were anyway. So anyway, we were playing these fuckers, and these lads just kept fucking beating everyone because they're bigger than everyone. They were like the monsters in Space Jam. I don't remember them lads. Remember the big fucking just ride it up.
Big ogres, a young fellas. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And this is what they were. And they won everything before them underage, this team. And they were just absolutely hocking everyone. Now, they didn't go on to win that much senior because, of course, everyone grew for senior. Mm-hmm. They just had to be, they just got lucky. They just like had a batch of buns that came out of the oven quicker than everyone else. So they just all hit puberty like massively a few years early. So they just had a few years where they were just absolutely lifting fucking, you know, rooting trees out of the ground. Like, you know, like just, you know, mad cunts. So anyway, they were baiting the absolute snot out of us anyway. And I didn't like this at all. And they're mouting and they're doing bits and bobs. So anyway, I was playing half back, and I remember the fella. His name is Jamie Lynch, nice lad. Was playing half forward on me, and the ball was being poked out over our head, and I just said, "Well, fuck this anyway." And I turned around, Tom, and as the ball was coming over, I just pulled straight across his head. Now, as it turned out, like, he got the slap and then he tore off the helmet and went fucking ape shit. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You pull over. And so really, I don't have a leg to stand on. Yes, I did.
No.
I just pulled right across your
head. Hit the man in the head with a hurley. Yeah. Like, you've been arrested in out in the street for something like it.
But of course you'd be arrested out in the street, and rightly so. Like I could have broken the chap's neck. It was an absolutely demonic fucking turn of violence. Like, it was just, I don't know what, do you know what I mean? That's homicidal, like, lunatic behavior. And I'm not drunk, I'm completely sober. Just fucking.
So imagine that scene from American Psycho where he's wearing the clear coat, and he's talking about the merits of Phil Collins' music. Like, he goes, he just cracked him out with the fucking axe across the head, and this is
and then he goes back. He's doing his little
he
dance.
goes back doing the dance. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh fuck! But lad, so there was that, and then there was the second incident, and the thing is, and that's another thing. And you were saying earlier, like, in real life, very placid, a buttery character almost. I'd say I am. Overly nice.
Buttery's
really
a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah. Just buttery. I'm trying to, I want to be liked. I like being nice to people. That's, I think that's the right thing to do. Which is, that's just funny what sport can be, real Jekyll and Hyde stuff, like, But I remember another time, this was the kind of the last of me kind of playing hurling, probably to a higher level or serious, but I was training, I was training for Cairns College, right? And they had us, this is my final year in school, and we were training, I would say, 8 times a week. And that's like, so
Jesus Christ.
I swear to God, so most lunchtimes and then after school as well. And you were studying for the fucking leaving. But sure, they didn't give a fuck about the leaving. They go,
give a shit about you'd repeat. They'd only hope you'd have to repeat.
100%.
Jesus Christ.
About that, learning fucking kills their boner. No, don't just shut up. Fucking come out here. You're a fucking human horse. So anyway, I remember I was soloing with the ball one time in a training, and lad fucking behind me was just slapping at my fucking elbows, right? So I saw only slapping at me, and he was just a dog, so you can't get rid of him. I'm trying to solo away. He's just there tapping. And anyway, I end up losing control of the ball. And the lad who the ball goes to just rises it up and clears it away. The lad in front of me. And the lad behind me was hitting me with the elbow. But sure, whatever happened, I just saw red. And the lad that just picked up the ball and drove it away, I just came up and just broke the hurl off him. And just, again, Tom, there's no excuse for it. There's no reasoning. Your man can't even, he looks at me. He nearly starts crying. He takes off the helmet. He goes over to the manager and he goes, what the fuck? This lad's going to kill someone on the pitch. There's no need for that. He's doing this whole big thing. And so our manager then, Mr. Hogan goes, right? No. He's like, Jesus, no, you're right there, Donald. Jesus, Mike, you can't be doing that. You can't do that at all. Blah, blah. Your man, no, I'm not fucking hurling here anymore. I'm not going to play on this panel if he's blah, blah, blah. So your man Hogan was like, Jesus, no, you're right, Mike, you can't be blah. Anyway, your man kind of turns his back and goes off. Hogan comes up behind me with a hurl. He gives me a few little short slaps on the outside of the hurl. He said, good man, Rice. Like, he just,
he gets it. He got it. I get it. You can't teach that level of nasty. You can't, like, players that have that, like, if they could have found a way of channeling you right, Benny, I don't know if you remember, it was a good few years back, but Benny Dunn for Tipperary, he took off Tommy Walsh's fucking head about 10 minutes. I do
remember,
You remember that? Yeah. And Walsh was obviously creating serious shithouse in that. I put a worm inside his head from the second they were playing alongside. And even at senior county level at the All-Ireland final, you can still fucking snap.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't think Benny Dunn will ever up on the knuckles and told, never be like that again? Or Tommy Walsh was ever like, no. We need that animal. Well, you need that freak. You need that level of psycho. You can have all the silky skills in the world. Cannot train that genetic 10,000 years ago
Yeah.
freak show berserker that jumps off the ship naked with his cock flapping everywhere with two swords ready to jump into whatever fucking mayhem lies ahead. And the more manic, the better. Like you can't. That's a genetic blood trait that's in the blood somewhere. And if they could, like, you can't recreate that ever. Like,
but it's also we want that berserker. There's something fucking exhilarating about having someone like that doing your bidding for you. That's on your side. That you have a fucking animal, a wild dog. You know, just a man who's fucking just loose. The brain cells are loose. He's just, you know, he's like an old bull. You know, like an old bull that's gone bad. You know, when a bull gets too old and they just. I remember
you trained us. You taught us all about a bull going bad after the 7-year mark. They can go fucking queer. Like one that turned you on the last podcast. He turned on your old lad. Like, and there's time to make burgers out of it. Then,
sent my father over the gate like fucking Shefflin putting a 65 over. He just fucking wrote.
Whee!
He sent him high over the fucking gate. But even like, you know, like it, even in terms of like, I think that goes as well for like even like politics or many different kind of elements of life.
Yeah.
You know, when you want someone that's like doing your bidding, like you want a fucking nasty cunt of a politician if they're trying to get done what you want to get done. You don't want some goody two shoes. You want fucking someone who's going to take the brown envelope, give the brown envelope, get the fucking permission, the planning permission fucking granted. That's what you want.
Never forget we had two incidents and they were kind of adjacent to sport, but we did of the senior rugby school and we went on and we won the Mon's Cup. It was great and it was mighty and all the rest of it. And I'll never forget we had a great training facility and stuff like that, but we'd Anne Quinlan at the time who was playing for Ireland training us. Now Quinlan, it sounds all snazzy and everything, but we were a bunch of roughnecks anyway. And Quinlan is a hiding the wool roughneck, like wild animalistic farm from Limerick Junction. But he love a fight. His family, I mean, give me 10 men, I'll fight the 10 Like that was the attitude of a Quinlan growing up, like, and that's what he instilled in us. And I'll never forget. But our school principal at the time, it was the year previous. It was Gaelic football we were playing. He wouldn't allow us to play rugby until he fucked off. But the same fella built a level of not back downery that you've never, there was no bullying went on in our school. There was no nothing went on in our school. Yeah. Because he would drop you on the spot with a punch. And only do it to the country boys, like really. But that rumor went around enough that even the townie lads were going, oh no. If any acting the Mickey's going on, it's going on somewhere else other than the school, because your man was just this big, strong. He had played county football for Tip and stuff, but I'll never forget we were playing ball and our stuff got robbed by members of a community that were living close by, if you get me. And, these members of a community. Exactly, and the same Buddhist community would be they love a bit of a set to themselves. It is well known. They make videos about it, calling each other out. And you'd think a fellow would call it. Stuff was robbed. Our stuff was robbed from the dressing room. It was easy nowhere it went like. Yeah. But rather than ringing guards and going, well, who knows, guys, he jumped into the car. I'll be back in a minute, boys, from training. Our principal went booting down the road. And basically threatened all in front of him that he was going to start popping heads. Apparently that was the words. I'm going to start popping heads clean open. Like, imagine that verb being used. I'm not going to bust your head. I'm not going to hit you. I'm going to pop your head like a fucking blueberry. I'm going to fucking pop. And lo and behold, by every fucking last thing, pair of trainers, every fucking thing came back. And amazingly and ironically, he didn't want the rugby. He was like, fuck it, there's a brutal, you shouldn't be playing that shit. He fucks off. The new guy came in for 6th year, let us have a rugby team. We won all around us. But we played a school after we won the school's cup. I remember we played a school that we weren't in the league at all. Like, there were a bunch, it was a school for ne'er-do-wells. They were misfortunes, a lot of these lads. They hadn't rugby boots. And sure, I think I played 8, never 20 minutes. And could have smoked a fag and still beaten these lads like out, but they were rough as fuck. But they cleaned out our fucking dressing room, cleaned out for every penny that was in the dressing room in the above the
bastards.
So this was found out. So Quinlan said, right, let them all back onto the bus and then lock the gate.
And lock the bus.
No, lock the gate.
Yeah,
they're not getting out of this fucking grounds. But say nothing and let them all, teachers and all, let them onto the bus.
The teachers and all.
Yeah, lock the gate. Your man went to put the bus in reverse to turn around after they got good hiding or whatever. These lads had their pockets full of our money and sweets and everything else. And Quinlan knocked on the door of the bus.
They're just Skittles.
They took my fucking Skittles. And I think, do you know what? I don't think I was robbed. I think I was driving at the time. I think I drove up and left gear in the fucking car anyway, but he walked onto the fucking bus, locked the door behind him. The bus driver's like, do you want me to get off? No, you can stay there too. Right, I'm going to go to stuck. And his words were, I'm going to walk down the aisle of the bus and everybody's getting punched. And there was girls and everything on the bus, like schoolgirls, like that everybody's getting punched until every fucking penny comes back. About €8 or €9 extra came back. Then fucking what was stolen apparently. They just fucking emptied their pockets, the poor cunts. I think even the bus driver gave a few pounds.
Like there's something so fucking raw about just threatening to hit women, but like young, like just a man, even like someone coming on, everyone is getting punched. But like there's something whereby people know, like there's just a look in the eye, and it can't be faked and it can't be recreated, because I've tried before to pretend to be nuts in situations to try and scare lads.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was down the town one day, and there's a place called Callan.
Yes, yeah.
In Kilkenny, and this now is really where dreams would go to die and cousins go to meet the love of their lives. But just a real old kind of backwater fucking horror show. But they'd have a kind of a fucking crew now. Like, because if the Callan lads came into town, they'd have a fucking thirst for pain. They'd be looking to fucking ruin a few people's nights.
Yeah.
And there's these little lads called the Berrigans, and there's these fellas now, and they would have been, I'd say, originally from a community. Do you know what I mean? They would have been Buddhists originally.
Buddhists as well, yeah.
Yeah, they're settled Buddhists. And so anyway, but no.
I just picture the Buddhist up with a sulky racer on a Sunday tearing down the road.
Yeah.
He's yet up flying. Sorry, go ahead anyway. The Berrigan boys.
So the Berrigan boys now, and they were as wide as they were tall. They were just absolute little barrels of men, and they had those kind of fucking wobble heads that, like, the head was as big as their torso, like, but they were fucking animals anyway. Like, they would devour you. They'd rearrange your fucking face, like, you're just, if they got their hands on you. But anyway, I kind of ended up in a little kind of a scuffle with a few of these kind of minor Callan lads. Now, these were little young lads, but so, like, you wouldn't have to pay that much heed to them. But the thing is, they were kind of like, it's like in the mafia, they're connected, like they're men that are connected to higher powers. But anyway, I was doing the whole I decided I was going to do this like crazy dog move on him, where I was just literally acting crazy, so I was just like, I'll fucking, you're putting the eyes on, and you're like, oh, fucking like to these, like, to the little lads. And anyway, next thing, I had no idea, but it was like someone having a car around the corner. One lad went, Chef. Now, Chef is the name of one of the Berrigans. Next thing, like an old horse coming around the corner, Chef barrels around. And I swear to God, I went from crazy like this, like, you fucking, I screamed, Tom. I went like this, and just absolutely pegged it. I screamed out loud. I went, and legged legged it, because you also have to know when, the jig is up. And
self-preservation is
I've been found out now. This lad will make me into sausages, and I have to go, But sure, lad, I swear to God, when we were young now, and I wasn't much into it. I really wasn't now, but it was mad because I don't know who I was talking to recently. I think it's because living in London and stuff, you forget that people didn't grow up in a certain, that you forget the way
it's mind-bending when I go to places like London and you make mentions of these things, and you may as well have been talking about growing up in rural Pakistan, the way they look at you. They're like, you what? And I was like, what? You mean you didn't have to fucking fight a grown man when you were 10? What? Right.
But sometimes I think, as I'm describing it, that I grew up in a cartoon, like that I grew up inside a cartoon like this. Even as I'm saying it, I'm like, this actually sounds insane. Yeah, it's absolutely. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's belugas. But we used to go out on nights out, and to be fair, it was mainly like I went to UCD, but all my friends from Kilkenny came up as well. And like, we were absolutely, stone useless with women, like just, we actually, it wasn't even on our fucking mind, to be honest, Tom. I don't think we were so far away from that. And we would drink so much. We would have a naggin and 8 cans before. We would be absolutely belugas when we went out. But all we would go out to do, and when I say all of us, I didn't really get involved in it because I couldn't really actually fight properly. But my friends would just go out to fight. We used to go to a place called Tripod, and we would call it Fight Pod.
Yes, yeah.
And you'd go in there, and you'd just go around and just see who you could fight. And luckily enough, there'd be another roving gang from somewhere else down the country who can't shag women either, and that's all they're after as well. So you'd you'd run into them and almost do a deal. You'll be my night tonight, and we'll be your night tonight, and we'll fucking poke the heads off each other. And
because all it really is, whether it's riding or fighting, it's an exhilarating experience to be able to talk about with your friends afterwards, isn't it? One or the other. That's all it really is, isn't it?
Yeah, and their fluids will have left your body one way or another.
And chances are you're not any fucking good at it, either one. Really, if you looked at the pros, you're not very fucking good at it.
And by the end of it, someone severely dislikes you that you hadn't known before.
See, people, that's called art. What we just did there, stitching that together, that's called art.
Oh,
that's oh my, yeah, I get it. I didn't row I was never one for rowing. And ironically, I was handy at rowing. You
could say that. Tell that by the head of you, Tom.
By fifth year, I'd a second dan in karate. I was like when I was 4.
Yeah,
like it was so. But you kind of have a stricter then put into you. You're kind of like, if I could break a cunt's fucking leg to a degree. But then, I mean, sure, when you stop it and all the but when it came to conflict or temper, I don't know what it was. Like, people talk about, I remember, I don't know, did I lose? I've won a very few times with my wife, or in front of my wife, if I lost the temper. Not an absolute letting it slip, but she described it once, seeing it in a situation. She went, you don't even have a fuse. It's a trip switch with you. It's like, it's not, like, there's no build up. It's so freaky when I think about it afterwards, going, I went to 0 to 100 in not even the speed that you can go in 2 seconds. I mean, 0 to 100. That's it. Just went 0 to 100. Manic. And as far as conflict or having to deal, like when you were talking about, the weird thing is when you were talking about Chef coming around the corner, madness. The notion that I would go plowing into that. But funny, like, ironically, when you were going, crazy with your man, and then you turned around, in my head, I had myself put in that situation, as one is wont to do when you listen to a story, and I absolutely was mentally licking my lips, going, shirt off and fucking run for everything I have at the cunt. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why. What came into my head there? It was like, oh, fucking let's go. Even
Well,
though
see,
it
this
was
is what
99% chance that the guy would have ended me. Like,
yeah.
turned me to
You
dust.
missed your destiny of dying as an 18-year-old at the Battle of the Somme, like just straight up over the top. Do you know what I mean? Like that was your destiny, Tom. Like you've lived past the age you were supposed to live. You know what I mean? Like that
I'm like
is
Lieutenant Dan dying
Yeah.
on the fucking battlefield, and Forrest is picking me up. He's like, "No, put me back. I'm
Put me
supposed
back.
to die here."
Absolutely. 100%.
I do like how you haven't gotten from being in London, and if you have, you're very aware of it, of the softness. Because you have noticed, I've always noted one of the reasons why I like you and the kindred spirit that I have with you is there's a nasty streak in you. I just know there is. Like, even though you're the nicest fella, I know there's a vein running down your back somewhere that a doctor can't find, but it's there that leads to deep level of fucking want for conflict and sports brought it out of you. But and I know it because you point out soft cunts and you're living in the softest fucking place in the planet right now with soft cunts everywhere. Like fodder for your fucking temper. Like you must be just going, what the fuck? Would you stop wearing scarves?
That's right. So there is that odd. It's an odd. It's almost like a dissonance because it's like you'd have a few people living inside you. Because I have that completely, where and I had material. I have material in my last show that I was doing. A lot of it is just about how people in London are like where I'm living. It's just like if war got to London, a lot of it is that like of just how we're the biggest generation of useless cowards that's ever been assembled. And I have this like a whole bit about, I'm not going to do the bit, but it's about, which is a true bit, about one day I was on the tube in London and a wasp came onto the tube. Yeah. And the whole place, it was honestly, that was like our generation's Vietnam, generally. Like people, the place collapsed, Tom. Yeah. The place, they couldn't believe, people were screaming, there was things being thrown. A wasp.
Yeah.
Like if Putin had 5 good wasps, he could take. Like, honest to God. No joke.
If you have stopped telling that joke, you have full permission from the comedy community to rekindle that joke just to tag that on the fucking end of it. If Putin had 5 good fucking wasps,
I haven't put that on. Oh yeah, maybe I'll throw that on.
No, you rekindle that to get that. Oh my Lord, that's beautiful. Do you know what? There's fear, and someday you'll have children and stuff. Because you don't know what they're going to be like. How do you raise a child? Our own parents were fucking, God bless them, but you know what I mean. Yeah. They were country people, sure, and they didn't know. They could only fucking raise you. Now you try to be not overly conscious and try to be a bit old school, but at the same time trying to teach kindness into a child because people are kinder now. Like, but at the same time you go, I still want that age. Like, and he does. I've seen it. I've seen the look. He has looked at my grandfather. Actually jumped probably 2 generations. He had a look. Yeah, no, he has a look at. I had a look at 1 year's of age. I saw the look that my grandfather had. Lovely man, but when he said something, without raising his voice or sternness, but you know when somebody of absolute out and out steel level authority says something, there's you're not going to Google to check it for you're going, 100%. He has that look. That's and I was right. Going, oh, maybe genetically he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He said, and there is a wildness in him, like, and I don't want to temper that in any way. And thank God he has great feet under him and a good hand, like he already has a Hurley and he has a Slither and he's good hands. Thank God. I mean, can you imagine? Imagine it if he was cat.
Yeah. Well,
if he was cat, you know what I mean? Like
that's the thing. Like obviously, and even if he was cat, the thing is, you would get over it very quick, and
you would, yeah.
But you'd be delighted he's not.
It does. As I said to my wife, whose 2 brothers wouldn't be sporting at all. But sure, I mean, sure, isn't it grand? I mean, you don't understand how much easier his life is going to be now that he's good at sport. He can always get rid of the sport. He can always not do it. But it's nice to know that if he wanted to pick up a hurdle or pick up a fucking football, he can. But he did something the other day. He caught a honeybee, which is in line with your story. Right? He caught
what?
And no, I said the other day, this must be 6 or 7 months ago. He caught the bee, right?
Yeah.
Caught this bee in his hand. Oh, Jesus Christ. Because it was kind of like flying around him like a bit of an asshole, like like it was going to put on a strip show. No, it wasn't flying at any pace. Still not bad for like a 2.5-year-old to catch this bee midair. And I was like, what? I froze. I went, you should let that go. You should definitely let that go. And then he fucked his mouth and ate it.
He did not eat the bee, Tom. I don't believe he ate the bee. Tom, he didn't eat the fucking bee. I'm not going to believe that your son, 2.5 years old, grabbed the bee and ate the fucking bee alive. A live bee.
I'll wait for the reasoning on this. Why the fuck did you eat the bee? For the honey inside. I'm not even going to tell you whether you're right or wrong. You'll learn that in time. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Perfect. That's the most perfect answer. Fuck you and fuck everything. I'm eating you for the honey inside you. Kid's going to be fine. Mike, he's going to be fine.
But even looking now, I'd be like, there's a part is like, imagine doing the best thing you're ever going to do at 2 years of age. I mean, no one's ever going to, I'll never do anything as long as I live as good as grabbing a fucking bee and just eating it live. My whole life will come and go and I'll never do anything that memorable. That's unfucking believable. Yeah. Tell me this though, Tom, and with the young lad now, what age is your young lad now? Is he he's what now?
He's 3.5 now. Yeah, so he was just under 3. Yeah, he was just coming up on 3, I suppose, when he had to be.
So would you be, because I'm interested in this now in general, because it's like, and it's the different style than, we would have obviously been reared, our fathers would have been with us. But like, would you be trying to would you be conscious of, because what they say, like those ages, like from 1 to 5 or those, it's like, that's the most formative time in terms of like giving them confidence and blah, blah, blah and everything. Is that something you'd be conscious of doing, is like, telling them he's
unbelievably so. Like, but there are levels too where you go, I'm over egging the pudding here, because when they say, oh, kids are so crafty and cute, they actually are, because they're at a base level animal cuteness. They don't have any of the world trappings to fucking go up the bandwidth that their brain is operating on, like we do. They don't have memories from fucking getting drunk and trying to fight a fella called Chef. They've none of that shit filling up their heads. So for their new little brains, they're probably operating at a more optimum level of I suppose fucking survive and up.
Well, they're in the present. They're in the present.
They're so in the present.
That's right.
They're riddled with nothing at all. They're in the present. Yeah. There's craft and because I can see it, I'm like, because he literally, like, the child looks more like me than I fucking do. It's the biggest flex you could ever do. Like, if people have stopped, like, have actually stopped and went, Jesus Christ, I've seen Connect, but that is ridiculous. Like, but there's times where I'm going, you're thinking 3 paces ahead here. You're 3 paces ahead of me.
Yeah.
I'll make mention of something and he will then put in place something, say bath time. I'll say, show me your hands. Are they wrinkly? And you go, not too much. Because that's the sign, time to be getting out. And on that, he then he'll find himself to create more suds. And also he'll bring more toys into the bath. I'm kind of going, no, we're winding up now. We wouldn't be. But then you know what he's doing. He's just pushing the clock out.
Up the operation.
Because he tidies up the bath as well before and all the rest. So has found ways to extend things. You're like, Jesus Christ almighty. Like, your average adult doesn't think like this at all. They take it in this, for fuck's sake, are we wrapping up already, are we? Where he's like, I won't argue. What I'll just do is put things in place that create a situation where this has to go on for longer. Because what's the point in arguing with the fucking big hairy fella? Do you know what I mean? It's interesting. But yes, you absolutely it's not at all like being raised, even though they were good people, my parents, but sure, they didn't have that love thing in them. You know what I mean? Like and I've seen the new product of kids, like, you know, you can see it, the different
Yeah.
in how people are, they won't even talk to their fucking child. Like, the
Yeah.
child is manically sad. Whereas
Yeah.
our lad goes in, everybody. Now, I say that there's 8
Yeah.
other people in his class.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. And they have 3 teachers. Everybody gets a hug because he's in first
Really?
and he's just waiting. Everybody gets a hug. You gotta come in for, and his line is, his name is Fionn. He says, come in for the Fionshine. Come in for the Fionshine. Come on, let's get this day started. Yeah, and he's just, but everybody's on a fucking buzz from the get-go then, and it's like, fucking, let's do this. Now no fucks given, like we don't dress him in dark clothes either. You can see there's little things like, and they're possibly looking at us going, look at this crowd down from Dublin now, you know. But dress him in whatever. If he wants to wear a coat with spikes all over to look like a stegosaurus, 100%, man. You can, yes, you do you. Don't ever. And yes, the big telling point has been coming home with traits he's picked up from other kids. And that's kind of going, no, I've been doing this fucking perfect, and now you're picking this shit up from this fucking kid. Are you fucking, you know, nasty little things. You know? But smart enough to understand when I go, I know who you picked that up from. Do you think it's cool to do? Trust me. You just do you. Keep nice. Because
little Timmy Darcy down the road, little Timmy Darcy from the cross.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. It's going to happen. Like, but at least if you can make him equip him with the notion, you can just do you. You don't have to do what he's doing. You can just keep doing you. Like, have you not noticed? People get a great kick out of it. You know what I mean? But in the barbers the other day, for the first time ever, music comes on. And what's amazing is, like, all of the lads are just sitting there going, well, and it's just hurling talk, hurling talk. Music comes on. Your man's off. He's sitting beside me. He's fucking
Sunshine.
And puts on a dance show. Like, but was so in his head, like it was like that moment from Flashdance, you know. This is my fucking moment. I'm definitely not doing it for ye. I have to do this right now because this is fucking my Fionshine moment. Like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And after about 30 seconds of lads kind of looking, going, to fucking truth. After 30 seconds, it's went, fucking 3 was so right, like, isn't he? Like, he's just doing his fucking thing. You know, he's just doing his thing.
So when he does that, like, you must be, because I can only imagine now, and I would like to have, I'm not a person who said, you know, I would like to have kids now. And I met a one there the other day. She's from London, but her parents are Irish. And I've only been on one date, but I've decided I'll probably marry her now, but we'll see how that goes.
Great. And what genetics wise, like, because I know you look at that because you were raised around livestock. Like,
so her father's from a farm in Clare, and her mother's from a farm in Kenmare. But she's like, she's cool, young one. She like, you know, because like I'm a mixture of having grown up on a farm, but then also I love movies and music, you know, and all sorts of other stuff that people say I'm gay. Like a real hurler or a real farmer would say I'm gay, you know. So like
it's all a perception, like, for the most part, like, and I just leave people believe what they want to believe because they know I worked in construction, and I probably speak with a gruff way to people from time to time, but then all of a sudden they're like, what do you mean you read all of the Lord of the Rings and you've read like the original copies and stuff? Like, you're not allowed to do that. And I'm like, oh no, you are. I just don't fucking wear it on my sleeve. It's not my identity. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get it. I get it.
Well, see, that's it. Because it's like, the thing is like, and I tell you something that annoys me. Is people that are one or the other, who's like, this is my side and I'm just this. It's like, I'm either, you know, people who either villainize people who are into theater or people who villainize people who are into sports. And it's like teams. It's like people contain fucking multitudes. I like hurling. And I also like watching old French films. And I also, you know, like eating ones out. I think we all like that. But anyway, whatever. That's a bit dirty. But, you know, whatever. Joe.
I mean, you didn't have to put that in there. We all go along with it. It's like Angel's Delight. We all, we get it. Yeah, we get it.
So, but the point is, like, you don't have to be one fucking, you know, fit into this fucking box of, you know, whatever.
It's a terribly dim existence, I find, like, you know, when especially like, and it's getting worse and worse here, like when you see people, because here is trying to become Little America, and they actually speak with American terms and stuff like that, and You're like, oh, for the love of fuck, times when I'd love to shut the fucking internet down for a fucking day or two just to get reset some of you fuckers, because this isn't America for starters. And on top of that, they are not even all like that, where they
That's
are either
right.
one or the other. Most
Yeah.
people you meet are kind of going, era,
Yeah.
era. You know yourself, you just stand up in front of actual humans, you tell them jokes so you have a good gauge. Most
Yeah.
people are just kind of going, era?
Oh,
Whatever.
most people
Most
don't
people
care.
are.
I don't think I meet any of the people in real life ever that are apparently the loudest on the internet. I don't meet them ever like that.
Nor
But
I
I just
know.
think, because the people you meet are people that are going out and they're living their lives and they're coming to gigs and stuff. Most of the people, like, who has time to be writing these jokes on, or
Oh Lord,
this stuff
that's it. Time.
online? It's like, yeah, who has the time to be doing that?
So
But
tell me, you've met a woman, you're going to impregnate her at some stage, whether she knows this or not. Like,
I'm going to tell her I'm on the pill. Now, whether she believes that or not, we'll see.
yeah, okay.
We'll see how gullible she is. No, do you know what? I met her the other night there, Monday night, and it's just one of those ones now. And maybe I'll get ahead of myself on this. And I've maybe been single now a year and a half. And because of my lifestyle, I'm traveling all the time. I'm fucking busy. Like yourself, you're doing podcasts, you're doing this, that, a lot of stuff fucking going on. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend necessarily, because I'm like, sure, I don't have time to give anyone, really.
Exactly.
But then every once in a while, then you'll meet someone and you're like, I actually would slow down for this person, or I would actually.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the other side of it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you either feel that or you don't. You either want to do that or you don't want to do that. With someone. And I just have a feeling with this one already. I'm already feeling like, oh Jesus.
I wouldn't let her into this podcast early doors, because if she doesn't know there's a fucking animal inside you, she'll find out. So I tried to take the head off this cunt, and then I burst the hurley off another fella. She'd be like, "Well, Mike, you came across so nice. You drank a martini. What? I don't.
I don't know what's come over you, Mike. I just don't understand.
Exactly. So maybe let it
homicidal on the date, Mike. You didn't really seem like you were a murderous Bullock on the date, Mike. It didn't seem like you were Jack.
A murderous Bullock. Do you know what? You need to give
like you were.
The moniker the Bullock would be ideal for you.
Oh,
Mike the Bullock Rice. That's a great name. Mike the Bullock Rice.
Yeah, I'd be buzzing. I'd be fucking buzzing up. Oh, and before I leave you now, because I'll probably have to go down there and talk to the parents at some stage. But I did, and this is I wanted to chat with you about it. I did a gig with the two Johnnies. Yes. I opened for them the Hackney Empire in London, and it was some crack. And you did the Tree Arena with them, did you?
The Tree Arena, then the Marquee a couple of weeks later. It was intense.
So the boys are like I'd say that the Hackney Empire's never seen the likes of the fuckers that were in there. Lads were just fucking trying to eat the seats, and like it was the most. It was like a Castle Mart.
It was the most country thing. It was I think I opened with something like that as if ever we could fucking relocate the Ploughing Championship inside the Tree Arena. I said, this is what it would fucking look like. And the whole place was in full agreement. But it was, I'll never forget, I came out the side to watch the boys' show. I came out the side, and it was brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Mind-bending. Like, you keep looking up and up and up. There's 10,000 fucking people. Like, it does.
Yeah.
But I came out the side to watch the boys, and you have to stand out. And all of a sudden, I looked to my right, and this is why I love country people. A fucking queue had formed for lads who want to just shake my hand. Not take a photograph, but shake my hand and say thanks. I'm like, what do you mean fucking thanks? Yeah. Like, I came off stage, and Declan Nerney was waiting in the wings and gave me a hug. just saying, like, this.
Stop the world and let me off.
Like, so many like odd but unique moments to the boys. Like, they've created a phenomenal like, I would say, I was going to say microsphere, but it's not a microsphere at all. It's like they've created this world around them by being nothing but themselves. Like, dyed in the wool themselves. Like, which is unheard of these days. Like the amount of we've all watched podcasts and we all, and the false, over the top laughter. And you're like, oh, for the love of jeez. And like us as fucking cynical comedians will see it, but like the average person will they look like they're best friends and they love each other.
Yeah.
But the boys, they don't have like. There's like the other night I did a gig in Waterford and a fella came up to me afterwards. He's Jesus, because I'm after opening a club, which I've been continuously asking you to come and fucking play. But we will get to Stars to Align at some stage. But
we will.
He walked into a bar up the road from it a couple of weeks previous, and there was the Shamrock Lounge, and there was this quiz going on, a table quiz going on, a GA table quiz, and Johnny B was reading the questions. And like he was flabbergasted for a moment. He went, "But it's Johnny B of this is a fucking Tuesday night." And what the fuck is what?
Yeah.
And like one of the questions, because you were the answer to one of the questions. He goes, "Who is," and I will accept his nickname, "who is the host of the new comedy club up the road in the hill?" And they were all scribbling that crazy. And like some people just went, "Bear, that'll do," It is, but he was there. You like one of the boys. Like, who else could get 2FM to set up a studio for him in their house, more or less?
That's right.
We'll go up to Dublin to learn the ropes, but fuck you. You may bring it down to tip. Like, who? Nobody has in the history of 2FM has ever gotten that to be done. Like,
no, but they're just so pop. But like they're so unbelievably. I don't know. It's an ability to be so natural and just so uninhibited or something, even by the camera when they're on the podcast. Like there's a super likability. And let me tell you, when they were singing songs at the end of the fucking at the end of the show in London, they were taking the place, the roof, like they were fucking sucking diesel, like the performance they were putting in.
Oh, the performance, like they were phenomenal,
lifting the fucking place, like fucking. Like fucking
strings and everything. Yeah.
And the thing is, they just seem like, like Schmack seems like he's just after, coming from the Debs a few weeks ago. It just seems like the most normal lad in the world, but living his dream. There's something, I don't know what it is, but it's magic.
Good footballer in his day. Good footballer. Huh? Played county football for Tip. Good footballer in his day.
And he was good, was he?
He was, he was big, strong fucker. He was good. I remember saying it to the lads years ago because I think the lads did my podcast. I'd say it must be 5 years ago at this stage. But I remember saying to them, I said, keep it, because I remember they're always asking about stand-up scene and what's this. I said, don't you worry about one thing about the stand-up scene, lads. The beautiful naivety and untaintedness that you have managed to retain. Keep that. Don't like lose that, and you've lost everything. Like, ye are exactly what people hope you are, because as soon as you step outside that, and I love the fact that they have moved away from Care. Not because it's up the road for me here. It's the fact that it puts a flag in the ground and went, no, you come to us. The country is just as fucking good. Do you know? It's basically saying that we're just as fucking good down here. Do you know? And people fucking, whether they're country people or not, adhere to that. They may never have fucking been in County Tipperary, but they'll go, that's exactly what.
They were just so big. It's like anything. They were just so big, as in the podcast was so big that they just had the clout. They just had, well, if you want us to do it, this is what you have to do. And like, the boys were like, well, we do want you to do it. So like, that's the perks of success. You call the shots. You can fucking make the conditions yourself. But sound fuckers now. Sound fucking lads.
110%. Yeah. They're even that night now, we're coming back on the bus. They got a couple of buses and drove them up to the private show. Or not the private show, but it was, it was I suppose, exclusivity level in that you could buy a ticket to the club up the road, where the lads went up and sang songs, like not just their own, but they sang, the Joyce Country Cayley Band. They sang like, fucking Dancing at the Crossroads. People went fucking berserk for it, like. But the boys were fogging pints to beat the band. Just, it was just a pure Irishy fucking thing. Like, stuff was getting busted. The boys were fucking hitting stomp pedals so hard, and But I remember going up in the bus, and it was like we were only after coming away from a training session, like, and we were going for a few pints. Like, you're going, he just blew the fucking Three Arena. Like, it'll never. Like that night, I remember what was fierce was I'd stay miles back from the edge of the stage, which I don't like doing. Like, I like to hang over the edge of the stages.
I do as well.
To make it as intimate as you could possibly.
That's right.
But I remember
I want to eat them a little bit.
Yes. Like, yeah. But there was a line of pyrotechnics laid on the ground that apparently there was the lads were saying, and I was there at the beginning, there was a fella laying it out, and the boys were standing beside, and one of the managers of the Three Arenas said, Jesus Christ, the last time we saw that fella around the place, he was fucking, he laid, it was the Rolling Stones we had playing. Yeah. They'd never see more pyrotechnics in the Three Arena. Never. Yeah. The boys they just nearly blew the place up. Like, it was fucking, but it was everything and more that you'd want from, it was a great representation for pink things that aren't typically, ironically, mainstream. Do you know, it was like, yeah, you can fucking do it. You know, and that seems to be what's popping up. I think that's what the pandemic threw up, was a lot of people moving away from Dublin. So the likes of Chris Kent now is back in Cork. You know, lads are back in there. And what they've done is went, well, I'll create my own atmosphere here. I.e., he set up a couple of clubs. I know how do you know, and now it's and I tell you something, Mike, you'd get more out of playing my place in your soul than you would 10 gigs in a city of people who don't know you. Every single person there will come away knowing your name forever. Ever. Yeah. And being a fan forever, ever. Like, there's like Jerry McBride and Deirdre came down the last end. Deirdre came away nearly crying. She put a fucking show on, man. She put a show on. She fucking ripped the paint off the walls. I've never in all my life seen her go so hard. She went, she nearly blew the fucking mic. Because the people were fervent.
Blood, sweat, tears.
They were fizzing at the edges for her. Like, they were fucking, and she said to herself, she goes, you would hardly get this I wouldn't get this with my own crowd, because her own crowd at her shows are, you know, they're nice groups of women who drink wine and stuff.
But they're middle class, middle-aged women who are going to fucking behave themselves.
Yeah. No, in all fairness,
I want to say something terrible.
Yeah.
And have you go,
you know, there's like, we would, as I said, we get, when people ask about the capacity, I said, well, 90 really, but if it was in Dublin, you'd fit 100 in. But the problem is, you have country men, which are genuinely a different size of man. They are a different. I'm not. And this came crashing home to me only a 5
I'd say you'd fit, genuinely, you'd fit 7 of the Berrigans from Callan there. That's about what.
Just chef up the front, biting chairs and fucking. Anyway, right before you go down to Mammy and Daddy for tea and stuff, you have 2 fucking podcasts that I love seeing the clips of. You have your Vittorio. Is it 2 you have, or probably 10 of them at this stage? You're with Vittorio.
No, so I have 2. So I have one with Vittorio and Joe. So that's Mike and Vittorio's Guide to Parenting. I love that. It's a guide to parenting from the unique perspective of not having children or thinking about having them or mentioning them at all. It's just, do you know what's funny, actually, lads? We get like people commenting the whole time, like with like we have a woman who wants, do you know, people who pretending they listen to your podcast. So we have a woman who's just trying to sell like some parenting book. She's like, I've listened to the podcast, love it. Was just thinking I want to come on and sell, and we're gonna have her on. We're gonna have this woman on that wants to sell her book about fucking parenting. She just hasn't listened because it's like, there's nothing to do with it. It was just a little clickbaity title, like, you know, to get people in. And the other one is Big Mike and the Chief with Rob Moriarty. I would say that's a darker, weirder one, but
obscure.
It's great. Yeah. I love more it. Obscure. But yeah, they're both good cracks. So give them a listen. Have a look on my Instagram page, and that's it. That's all I have to plug, really. I'll be in Cork. I'll be in Collins in Cork on July 28th. If you go on the website, there'll be tickets. I think that's the only solo gig I've coming up in.
Beautiful room.
Oh, it's the best. It's the fucking best. You recorded the special there, didn't you?
No, I was going to, and I'm tempted to this year, but I did it in the Roisin Dove instead, which again, you know what I mean, like for like, and
yeah,
that is. But I was down there a couple of weeks ago and I hosted it. I hosted a show there, and it's
yeah.
it's
It's
you.
waves.
There's
Yeah,
everything to do with that room, the shape of it, the height of the
yeah,
stage, just the vibes coming off the walls, the
yeah,
staff, everything
yeah,
about it. And there's people coming in from all over the world. They haven't a fucking clue what but they're forced nearly to get on board very quickly. Like, you know, there's something about
yeah,
Collins. Mike is saying Collins. That's for the Cork people that are listening to this. Everybody else,
yeah,
that's Coughlin's. Or if you're from the
yeah.
UK, it's Coughlin's. Which spell it any of the three fucking ways, but it's Coughlin's. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
But yes, it's a delicious, delicious place.
yeah.
Whenever we
Unreal.
can get the stars aligned, Mike will
Yeah.
be
Well,
on.
so
He'll be in the
what's
hill
the crack? So tell me the exact crack with the
last
it's on
Saturday.
last
Last
Saturday of
Saturday.
every month.
Yeah.
Right, grand.
It's an hour from you. It's an hour from your parents' house.
Right. So do you know when I fucking could do it now? Oh no, is that the last Saturday? Maybe it's not last, because my brother's wedding is on the 21st of June. Was it maybe in June? I'll message you about it there anyway after. But we'll be able to sort out. I'd fucking love to come down, like I fucking would. But you know yourself, I'm in the different country, and it's all whether I can, make it fucking add up,
Well, look, we could even try and put on a fucking night. The two of us do a fucking show on the hill or something, an obscure Saturday that you are home or something like that, where it isn't the end of the month. Like I did, like as we've been doing more and more kind of odd ones. Like I did a show. Wait to hear this, and you'll appreciate this. But I did a show for the tip under 20s the other day. I did. Oh Lord save us! Do you know when you're doing crowd work?
Yeah.
Crowd work normally suggests that you need the room to find out about each other and find some nuggets of information and what's great about it is that there's a variance of people in the room. But when you have a room full of the lads almost the same age, the same haircut, the same kit, the same aspirations in life, and the same one-dimensional thinking, because if you're at county level, you've got one fucking dimension.
That's right.
Wow. It was something else. Do you know what? It was fun. But some of the kids, they were kids, like they hadn't a fucking clue. They were just told to go there by Brendan Cummins and the rest of their trainers and went, get in there. Right. And it was just like they were told to go in and watch a fucking video of something for some of them. Like
that's exactly right. But there's something to younger, and it's my least favorite. And even when I was working as a tour guide or anything else, you get even 17 to 20-year-old, like. And I didn't even know myself at that time. You're just too horny. You're just not for listening. You're just not for listening. You're just.
I mean, even these lads were listening, but they weren't listening in the sense that we're here to enjoy ourselves. They were listening like if I give a TED talk, it would have done the same thing, or an inspirational talk, and you're just. Because they do their entire existence is training 8 times a week, like you said, and then trying to make the Tipperary fucking under 20s. And
that's right.
They've nothing else going on. Nothing else. Couple of lads were absolute gold by accident. Like there was one lad, he was a right farmer, he heading him but I'll never forget this fucking kid. He was 19 years of age. He was sitting in the front row and he had his hands on his knees and you couldn't see his knees. It was like these. And he wasn't a big lad. The hands were completely disproportionate to his body. It was like he'd had a hand transplant from a fucking gorilla. Like it was just ludicrous. And they hadn't selected him yet. It was the full panel, and they hadn't selected him. Like, I'm not telling you who to pick, but that kid, he's probably got the biggest dick in the room. Like, to be honest with you, and I mean, just on going, even if the hurley breaks. That guy could still fucking hit it with his dick. Like if your hands are half
you could throw the ball onto his flute and fucking run the pitch.
Fucking 65. Like it was, but that's all you could do. But it is an open end. It is my club. They have given it to me, so it is open ended. If we did a Tom and Mike show, we could have a great bit of crack. But because I think you would, of all the people I know, you'd probably go down one of the best because they're your people. If you know what I mean, like. The idea of the Farmer's Journal and the Spurious Diesel is on the tip of all their tongues.
Yeah.
Right, go on away down and sit up
Go on.
straight, and you don't fucking clank your fucking spoon off the side of the cup. Don't fucking don't slurp your tea, and whatever you do, don't dip bickies. Don't dip bickies. Nibble them politely with a handkerchief.
And you don't dip bread. If you dip bread in soup, she'd take the head off. That wasn't allowed either. Can you believe that?
Croutons? Would she allow a crouton?
No. The devil's work. Yeah, right.
Protestant devil work. That's all it
Protestant
is.
devil work. Yeah. Croutons are Protestant as fuck. Anyway, go on, Tom.
Beautiful. Thanks a million, Mike. And my thanks to Mike the Bullock Rice. Yeah, that's it going forward. I'm actually going to put that in the title. It's going to be Mike the Bullock Rice, whether he likes it. He loves it. He loves it. He said it himself. He loves it. Of course, if you want to become a Patreon, do that. It's in the link. I told you all the benefits of it. Follow Mike on all his Instagrams because you want to get to his podcast. You know what he's like now at this stage. It's the first time hearing him. Go find his podcasts. He's beautifully wild. He's a beautifully wild creature who is in touch with his softer side. But we all heard he's an absolute freak show underneath the skin, which I absolutely love and can relate to. Subscribe and share. Hit the bell if you're listening on Spotify, so that at least you know this comes in every time. As well as that, if you want to become a patron, it'll come in a couple of times a week. If you can't do any of that, give it the 5 stars as well. Be great if you give it 5 stars. If whatever platform you're on, please give it the top marks. Leave a comment if you like, or at the very least screen grab it and just put the link out there and just tag me in all the usual platforms. That would be tremendous. Right, boys, girls, and the rest of you. There's a heap of Easter eggs around the corner. I'm going to be in a diabetic coma. I'm having Easter eggs for breakfast because we have a child now. I'm allowed to be an idiot. Good night, best things.